Welcome back. So last time we dipped our toes into Allan Smithee and his kind of unique way of looking at competitor and acquisition profiles.
Right.
And
you guys had
we got a lot of questions.
tons of questions
about specifics.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of intel does this guy actually put in these profiles?
Yeah. It's a good sign when a deep dive sparks more curiosity. Right.
Exactly.
Means you're hooked. Means you want to go beyond the why and get into the what.
Exactly. And trust me, the details are where things get really interesting.
Absolutely.
We're not just talking spreadsheets and graphs here.
No.
Today, we are diving into the nitty-gritty of Smithee's methods.
Right.
The kind of stuff most people wouldn't even think to look for.
Yeah, it's like the difference between looking at a model home and like inspecting the actual blueprint.
Okay.
We're going behind the scenes to understand how Smithee constructs these profiles.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah.
Smithee starts his profiles with a
like a snapshot.
Concise company snapshot.
Yeah.
You know the basics?
Yeah.
Name, location, website, even things like registration numbers.
Oh, yeah.
Which honestly, I probably wouldn't have thought twice about.
See, and that's what's so fascinating here is how Smithee uses these like seemingly mundane details as starting points for deeper investigation.
Right.
Registration numbers can be surprisingly revealing when it comes to like a company's history, their ownership structure, even potential legal entanglements.
Wow.
It's all about knowing where to look.
So it's like those details are just the tip of the iceberg.
Really.
But then Smithee dives even deeper into areas most people wouldn't even consider.
Right.
Like he actually includes maps.
Maps are incredibly valuable for understanding a company's physical presence and how that relates to their operations.
Makes sense.
Where are their offices located? Do they own or lease their facilities? What's the proximity to transportation hubs, suppliers, even competitors?
Oh, wow.
These spatial relationships can reveal a lot about a company's strategy and logistics.
It's like he's creating a visual representation of their business ecosystem.
Yes.
You could almost picture the delivery tropes and the late night strategy sessions happening in those buildings.
Precisely. And it's not just about the present, it's about anticipating the future.
Okay.
Let's say a company is planning a major expansion.
Right.
By analyzing their current map and comparing it to zoning regulations or available real estate, you might be able to predict their next move before it's even announced.
That's incredible. It's like having a crystal ball for business decisions.
In a way, yes. And this kind of spatial analysis can be applied to a wide range of industries, from manufacturing to retail to technology.
Yeah.
It's about understanding the physical footprint of a business and how that shapes their potential.
Okay, so maps, I get it.
Yeah.
But then there's this whole other level of detail that feels almost, invasive, I guess.
Okay.
Smithee talks about digging into a company's political connections.
Sure.
Why would someone care who's on their Christmas card list?
It's not about personal relationships. It's about understanding the web of influence a company operates within.
Okay.
Political connections can be a significant asset for navigating regulations, securing contracts, even influencing policy changes.
So it's like knowing who they know in government could give them a competitive edge.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Imagine two companies bidding on a major government contract.
Right.
One has strong political connections to key decision makers, while the other doesn't.
Right.
That connection, even if it's never explicitly leveraged, could be a deciding factor.
It's like that saying, it's not what you know, it's who you know. But in this case, it's about knowing who they know.
Exactly. And this type of analysis goes beyond just identifying individual politicians.
Okay.
It's about understanding a company's lobbying efforts, their campaign contributions, their involvement in industry associations, anything that sheds light on their political influence.
So it's less about gossip and more about understanding the power dynamics at play.
Precise. Because those dynamics can make or break a deal, especially when you're talking about mergers and acquisitions.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So we've got maps, we've got political connections. Is there anything else Smithee considers must-have information in these profiles?
This is where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
Smithee insists on including a section dedicated to a company's academic collaborators.
Okay, I did not see that one coming.
Really?
We're talking about universities and research institutions, right? Why would that matter?
In today's knowledge-based economy, academic collaborations are often the lifeblood of innovation. Companies that partner with leading universities gain access to cutting-edge research, top talent, and valuable intellectual property.
So if a company has a strong network of academic collaborators, it could be a sign that they're on the cutting edge of their industry.
Precisely. It suggests they're invested in R&D.
Okay.
They're actively seeking out new ideas, and they're positioned for future growth.
So it's not just about what they're doing in NWU.
Right.
It's about their potential to innovate and evolve in the future.
Exactly. And this is especially critical when you're considering an acquisition.
Okay.
You're not just buying their current assets and market share.
Right.
You're investing in their potential for long-term growth.
So, if I'm understanding this correctly, a company with strong academic ties could be a much more attractive acquisition target.
Potentially.
Even if their current financials aren't as impressive.
It all comes down to risk assessment and growth potential.
Okay.
A company with stellar financials but weak academic ties might be a safe bet in the short term.
I see.
But their long-term prospects could be limited.
Right.
On the other hand, a company with a robust network of academic collaborators might present a higher risk, but also a much higher potential reward.
It's like the difference between investing in a bond and investing in a high-growth startup. One is considered safer, but the other has the potential to skyrocket in value.
That's a great analogy. And that's why Smithee emphasizes the importance of looking beyond the traditional financial metrics.
I see.
He's trying to uncover those hidden gems, those companies, with the potential to disrupt industries and generate exponential returns.
This is blowing my mind.
Yeah.
I never would have thought that something like academic collaborations could be such a valuable piece of the puzzle.
It's all about connecting the dots, seeing the bigger picture, and understanding that business success is often driven by factors that aren't immediately apparent in a balance sheet.
Okay, so we've covered some pretty unexpected territory here. Maps, political connections, academic collaborations.
Right.
It's clear that Smithee's approach is all about going beyond the surface and digging into the details that others might miss.
And it's in those seemingly insignificant details that we often find the most valuable insights.
Speaking of valuable insights, one of the things that really struck me about Smithee's approach is his willingness to embrace speculation.
Oh, really?
Like actually writing down educated guesses. Which feels kind of radical in the world of due diligence, right?
It does.
Yeah.
It does. Yeah, it might seem.
Because you rarely have the full picture when you're evaluating a company.
Right.
Especially if you're looking at them as like a potential competitor.
Exactly. You have to work with what you have, and sometimes that means acknowledging the gaps in your knowledge and making educated guesses about what might be going on behind the scenes.
So instead of ignoring those gaps, Smithee embraces them.
Exactly.
Wow.
He encourages his team to formulate hypotheses based on the available evidence, even if it's incomplete.
Okay.
For example, let's say a company has been unusually quiet about their R&D activities lately.
Red flag.
Potentially.
Okay.
It could be nothing, or it could be a sign that they're about to launch a game-changing product.
Right.
Smithee would encourage his team to dig deeper, analyze their patent filings, track their key personnel, monitor industry events for any whispers or rumors.
Like being a detective.
Exactly.
Clues.
And based on those clues, they might speculate that the company is on the verge of a major breakthrough in a particular field.
But wouldn't that just be like a wild guess?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
It's an educated guess based on our understanding of the company, the industry, and the competitive landscape.
Right.
And crucially, Smithee emphasizes clearly labeling these speculations as such.
So it's about being transparent about what you know and what you don't know.
Absolutely. You're not trying to mislead anyone.
Right.
You're simply acknowledging the limitations of your knowledge and presenting potential scenarios that warrant further investigation.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But how does this actually play out in a real-world scenario?
Sure.
Can you give us an example of how speculation in a profile could give someone a competitive edge?
Imagine you're considering acquiring a software company that specializes in artificial intelligence.
Okay.
Their financials are solid. They have a strong customer base.
Okay.
But their executive team has seen a lot of turnover recently.
Okay. Yeah, I'd be curious about that.
Yeah.
Is it just me, or is that never a good sign?
It's definitely a red flag worth investigating.
Right.
Now imagine the due diligence profile includes a speculation that this executive churn might be due to disagreements over the company's strategic direction.
Interesting.
Specifically, a potential pivot towards a more lucrative, but ethically ambiguous application of their AI technology.
Oh, wow.
Right.
That changes things.
Now, armed with this speculation, you go into the acquisition negotiations with a different mindset.
Right.
You're more likely to ask probing questions about their long-term vision, their ethical guidelines, their risk mitigation strategies.
You're negotiating from a position of knowledge.
Exactly.
Even if that knowledge is based on a hunch.
You're better equipped to assess the potential risks and rewards of the acquisition. You might uncover red flags that would have otherwise gone unnoticed. Or you might discover a hidden opportunity to steer the company in a new, more ethical direction.
So it's not about being right or wrong.
Right.
It's about using speculation as a springboard for deeper analysis and better decision-making.
Precisely. It's about embracing uncertainty and using it to your advantage.
I like that.
And this brings us to another fascinating aspect of Smithee's approach. His insistence on including an open question section in every profile.
Oh, yeah, we haven't even gotten to that yet.
I know, right?
It sounds like this is where those speculations really come into play.
Absolutely.
Okay.
The open questions section is where Smithee's team lists all the unanswered questions. The missing pieces of the puzzle that still need to be addressed.
So it's like acknowledging what you don't know. And turning it into a roadmap for further investigation.
Exactly. And this is where those speculations become actionable.
I see.
Each speculation should generate a series of open questions that need to be answered.
Okay. I think I'm starting to get this. But can we make it more concrete?
Sure.
Can you give us an example of an open question that might stem from the speculation about the AI company?
Remember the speculation about their potential pivot towards a more ethically ambiguous application of their technology? An open question could be, what safeguards, if any, does the company have in place to address potential ethical concerns related to their AI technology?
Yeah, that's a pretty important question to answer before acquiring a company like that.
Absolutely. And this open question might lead to further investigation into their internal policies, their data privacy practices, their engagement with ethicists or regulatory bodies.
It's like those open questions are launching pads for more targeted due diligence.
Exactly. And by systematically addressing these open questions, you're not only mitigating potential risks, but you're also uncovering hidden opportunities. You might discover that the company has already taken steps to address ethical concerns. Or you might identify areas where your expertise could help them navigate this complex landscape.
So it's not just about finding problems. It's about finding solutions, too.
Precisely.
I like it.
And that's what sets Smithee's approach apart. He's not just interested in identifying weaknesses. He's looking for opportunities to create value. Whether it's by mitigating risks, capitalizing on emerging trends, or simply making more informed decisions.
This is all incredibly fascinating.
Good.
But I have to ask, how does someone like Smithee actually gather all this information? I mean, we're talking about some pretty obscure details here.
That's a great question, and it speaks to the heart of Smithee's methodology. He's a master of information gathering, and he relies on a combination of traditional research methods and some surprisingly unconventional tactics.
I'm intrigued. Spill the tea. What kind of unconventional tactics are we talking about here?
Well, for starters, Smithee is a huge proponent of what he calls human intelligence. Or human. As in like spies and secret agents.
Well,
are we talking about the CIA here?
Not exactly. Although the principles are similar. Humility in the context of due diligence is about leveraging personal networks, conducting discrete inquiries, and gathering information through conversations and observations.
Just like old school detective work.
Exactly.
Knocking on doors, talking to people in the know, that kind of thing.
Smithee believes that some of the most valuable insights come from talking to people who are directly involved with the company. Former employees, industry analysts, even competitors.
I bet those conversations can be pretty revealing. People love to gossip, especially when it comes to their former employers.
It's not about gossip. It's about gathering firsthand perspectives and insights that you wouldn't find in a financial statement or a company website.
For example, let's say you're trying to understand the company culture at a potential acquisition target.
Which is hugely important if you're thinking about integrating their team into yours.
Exactly. Now, you could read their mission statement, browse their LinkedIn profiles. But the most insightful information might come from a casual conversation with a former employee who can give you the inside scoop on what it's really like to work there.
So it's about connecting the dots between the official narrative and the lived experiences of the people who've actually been there.
Exactly. And this kind of human intelligence can be invaluable for understanding the nuances of a company's culture, their leadership style, their decision-making processes.
Okay, so Human It Takes is all about tapping into human networks.
Yeah.
What other tricks does Smithee have up his sleeve when it comes to information gathering?
Another fascinating aspect of Smithee's approach is his use of open source intelligence, or OSINT.
Open source intelligence? Is that like Googling stuff?
It's a bit more involved than that, although Google is definitely a valuable tool in the OSINT arsenal.
Okay.
OSINT involves gathering information from publicly available sources.
Right.
News articles, social media posts, company websites, academic journals, government databases, even things like satellite imagery and patent filings.
Wow. So basically anything and everything that's out there in the public domain.
Precisely. And the key here is knowing where to look, how to connect the dots, and how to extract meaningful insights from vast amounts of data.
That sounds incredibly time-consuming, though.
It can be.
I mean, who has time to sift through mountains of data?
That's where technology comes in. Smithee's team relies heavily on data analytics tools, artificial intelligence and machine learning algorithms to process and analyze vast quantities of information.
Wow.
These tools can identify patterns, flag anomalies, and generate insights that would be impossible for humans to spot on their own.
So it's like having a digital army of researchers working around the clock.
In a way, yes.
Wow.
And this allows Smithee's team to uncover those hidden gems, those valuable nuggets of information that might be buried deep within mountains of data.
I'm starting to see why Smithee's considered such a legend in the world of due diligence.
Yeah.
He's not afraid to think outside the box and use every tool at his disposal to get the information he needs.
Exactly. He understands that knowledge is power. And he's relentless in his pursuit of it. He's constantly pushing the boundaries of what's possible in the world of due diligence. And his methods have helped countless companies make more informed decisions and gain a competitive edge.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. Maps, political connections, academic collaborations, speculation. Open questions, Humayant.
Yes.
And we're just scratching the surface.
Wow.
There's so much more to explore in the world of due diligence.
And we'll continue our deep dive into Smithee's methods in our next episode.
So we've been talking about this guy Smithee and his almost like superhuman ability to dig up information on companies. But what I'm really curious about is what about the human element?
Sure.
Can you really understand a company just by looking at data points and maps?
That's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
Smithee would be the first to tell you, data is crucial, but it's only part of the story.
Okay.
To truly understand a company, you need to understand the people behind it.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Businesses are run by people after all. But how do you actually factor that into the due diligence process?
Smithee has a very specific approach. He encourages his team to create detailed profiles of key personnel at the companies they're investigating.
Profiles? Like with pictures and everything?
Well,
it seems a little creepy, right?
It's not about being creepy. It's about recognizing that businesses are ultimately driven by human decisions. And those decisions are influenced by a complex web of factors. Personality, experience, relationships, even things like risk tolerance and ambition.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
But how do you actually find out that kind of information about someone?
I
mean, it's not like they're putting their deepest fears and desires on their LinkedIn profiles.
That's where Smithee's methods go beyond the traditional. He's a huge believer in what he calls behavioral analysis.
Behavioral analysis?
Yeah.
Sounds intense.
It can be, but it's incredibly effective. Essentially, it involves looking for patterns in a person's behavior that might reveal something about their character or their motivations.
Can you give me an example?
Sure.
Like what kind of behavior are we talking about here?
Let's say you're evaluating the CEO of a company. Smithee's team might look at things like their public speaking engagements, their social media presence, their philanthropic activities, even their hobbies and interests.
So you're looking for clues in their public persona.
Exactly. And those clues can be incredibly revealing.
Okay.
For example, let's say the CEO is constantly talking about innovation and disruption, but they've spent their entire career in highly bureaucratic, risk-averse organizations.
That seems like a bit of a disconnect, right?
Exactly. It's a red flag that warrants further investigation.
Okay.
Are they really committed to change, or are they just paying lip service to the latest buzzwords?
Right.
These are the kinds of questions that behavioral analysis can help you answer.
So it's about reading between the lines and looking for inconsistencies or hidden motivations.
Precisely.
Okay.
And it's not just about the CEO.
Right.
Smithee believes that every member of the leadership team can provide valuable insights into the company's culture and decision-making processes.
So you're building a psychological profile of the entire team.
In a way, yes.
Wow. You're trying to understand their strengths, their weaknesses, their blind spots, their motivations.
Okay.
And that understanding can give you a huge advantage in any kind of negotiation or competitive situation.
I can see how that would be incredibly valuable.
Yeah.
But it also seems like it could be open to interpretation, right?
Sure.
How do you make sure you're not misreading the signals
or
letting your own biases cloud your judgment?
That's a critical point.
Yeah.
Behavioral analysis is not an exact science.
Right.
And it's important to approach it with a healthy dose of skepticism and humility.
Oh.
Smithee emphasizes the importance of corroborating your findings with other data sources and seeking multiple perspectives.
So don't just rely on your gut feeling.
Exactly. Use your intuition.
Okay.
But back it up with evidence.
I see.
And be open to the possibility that you might be wrong.
Sure.
The goal is not to be right all the time.
It's to make the most informed decision possible based on all the available information.
This has been eye-opening. I never realized how much valuable information we often overlook.
Right.
Even when it's right in front of us.
It's a testament to the power of observation, critical thinking, and a willingness to challenge our assumptions.
So next time I'm trying to size up a competitor or make a tough decision, I'm going to channel my inner Allan Smithee.
That's a great strategy.
I like it.
Remember, it's not about being creepy or manipulative.
Right.
It's about being informed and insightful.
Okay.
It's about connecting the dots, understanding the human element, and using those insights to make smarter decisions.
Well said.
Yeah.
And on that note, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of Allan Smithee.
Of course.
Until next time, keep exploring.
Yes.
Keep asking questions and keep diving deep.